All right, hey everybody, welcome back. So last time I was trying to get a triangle and I pretty much failed. I did not get a triangle, but I did do some legwork in the meantime to figure out what was going on, and I did figure out why my triangle was not rendering. It was a few things actually. So first of all, here in my shader, the vertex output has to be specified as SV underscore output, because that's what they say. Also, I noticed that the way I was setting up my swap chain was wrong. I'm only supposed to have one buffer because it has one buffer by default, and then everything you put here will add to that extra buffer or something. I don't know. They made it intentionally convoluted in my opinion, but and then the swap effect here, I don't need that at all apparently. And then one more thing, here I am not initializing my stride or offset at all, so it's just getting filled with some potential junk. So my stride is actually, since I have two floats per vertex, I need the size of a float, and then I need to multiply that by 2, and then the offset is just going to be 0. So doing that, when I run it, huzzah, there we go. I got my ugly orange triangle right there. And then one more thing I wanted to, actually a couple more things I wanted to do. First off, I want to, see how I got the little spinny circle thing there? I want to actually keep that as a cursor. So it's going to be up here in my window. I'm going to use this wc.u cursor, I think. If I just compile that, does that? No, it doesn't. Okay, so let me go back to the docs here. Nothing. There we go. Wind class. H cursor, not U cursor. So H cursor, and then I'm going to just set that to, I believe it's load cursor. Load cursor A. And then IDC arrow. So yeah, okay, so I'm going to set it to load cursor A. Cursor A, and then the parameters is the H instance. So yeah, H instance, and then IDC arrow. Does that work? No. Illegal. Oh. Wait a minute, what's going on? What if I just put 0? No. Oh yeah, okay, so that should work. Yeah, that was another thing I wanted to fix. So this, okay, so I don't think I need this WM destroy here. And then instead of posting a quit message, I'm just gonna exit the whole program, because really there's no point to do it the proper way. Well, I mean, I think this is more the proper way. Let's get rid of all these other ones that are running here. So, okay, so that should be all good. Yay, okay, I got my triangle. Oh yeah, I didn't even check. And I got my cursor, cool. All right, so we are on a roll here. Now the next thing I wanted to do was I wanted to be able to render my triangle using indices. So I just want to be able to point to, and I know it's kind of dumb to do it with just a triangle, but later when I get more complex geometry, this is going to save me a lot of memory. So essentially I just want to do the exact same thing as I'm doing with creating the vertex buffer. but I'm just going to make it an index buffer. So I'm going to copy all that and then just modify it. So I need indices, and then the indices are going to be, for now, unsigned short. And just going to be 0, 1, 2, because I want to render that one, then that one, then that one. We'll call this index descriptor. It's going to be the size of my indices. And then this is going to be a D3D11 bind index buffer. And we'll call this index data. And you know, to be honest, since I'm initializing everything to 0, I don't need those, and I don't need those. That is going to be indices, D3D11 index buffer. So then we're going to create buffer with the index buffer descriptor, the index data, and of course the index buffer. And then if we have a problem, we want to say there's an error creating the index buffer. And we don't need a stride or offset. We're going to set IA set index buffer. Keep doing that. I don't remember the parameters I need for that, so we will look it up. Right. Is that just it? I just need, no, that's for DirectX 12. Yeah, so I need the buffer, the format, and then the offset. Yeah, so I want that as the format. So first off, I need a pointer to my index buffer. So just index buffer, the format, and then the offset is just 0. So that shouldn't change anything. IA set index buffer. Okay, error creating index buffer. Why? Index descriptors, indices. All right, so my index descriptor, the size of indices, unsigned short. Let's make it int. I don't know if that's going to matter. R32. Yeah, still a problem. All right. Okay, so the actual creating the buffer, index buffer descriptor. Oh, it's because I'm setting the vertex data. All right, that should do it. All right, so no errors, but it's actually not rendering the indices because I'm still telling it to just draw the vertices. So I want to say draw indexed. And then I don't know what else goes in there, so let's look it up. Draw index, so the index count, the start location, and then the base vertex location. So the start location, I want 3 indices. I want the start location to be 0, the base vertex location to be 0, and then if I run it, should get no change. Yay, okay, so we're rendering a triangle with indices now. That is good. So now when I'm rendering more complex geometry, it will ideally take less data. Let's go change this back to short for now. And that should also be 16. And nothing changes. Okay, everyone is happy. Let us go back to the documentation and try. Okay, let's see. First of all, let's go to my bookmarks here. Programming guide for HLSL, complete code for DirectX framework. Yeah, let's try that one. All right, so I want to be able to texture my triangle. So what I'm going to do for now, just so I can get some code written, is I'm going to build my texture with an unsigned char array. I will call this text. And I'm going to make it just a simple 2x2 checker pattern using some funny colors. Okay, so let's just do like green and blue. So first color is going to be 0, 255, 0, 255. So that's no red, maximum green, no blue, maximum alpha. And then the next pattern is going to be 0, 0, 255, 255. So for full blue. And then 25, no, 0, 25, nope, 0, 255, 255. And then the same green, so 0, 255, 0, 255. All right, there's my texture. Now I got to figure out how to make a texture on my hardware and then tell my shaders to actually render that texture. Does this have any texture stuff here? If I just search for the word texture, yeah, it does. Okay. Oh no. Just for the back buffer though. Is it? Yeah, so it's got texture for the back buffer, texture for the depth stencil. I don't want those textures. I want like a texture that I can put on a triangle. What if I just search for the word texture? Hey, perfect. Introduction to textures in Direct 3D11. Oh my god, that might be the first time the documentation has actually hooked me up. Oh, I spoke way too soon for that. Okay, 1D text. Yeah, I know of what a texture is. Oh, here we go. No, I don't want a 1D texture. I want. Okay, ID311 texture 2D. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Create texture. Okay, so yeah, I need to make one of these. Interface inherits from this. Okay. The ID3 texture 2D interface has three methods, or has these methods. Get descriptor. To create an empty 2D texture resource, create texture 2D. All right, so I need a texture descriptor. Here we go. All right, so I got the texture there. I need a descriptor to describe how my texture is going to be. Text desk. Let's just initialize it to nada. Okay, so I need to tell the width, the height, the MIP levels, the array size. Do I need to do all of this stuff? All right. Text desk dot width capital equals 2. And that is not how you spell desk. All right, so it's got a width and height of 2. MIP levels, array size. Okay, so let's look at the array size here. Number of textures in the array. The range is from 1. Yeah, so I need to say that that's 1. All right, and the format, I'm sure. Yeah. Text descriptor dot format is going to be R8 GB8. So R, it's alphabetical here. There it is. R8, G8, B8, A8, unorm. All right. All right, so the format, the sample descriptor. Oh yeah, I need to actually make a sample descriptor too. Do I need that? All right, we'll come back to that. Let's go to the usage. Yeah, just default. Which is a 0 anyway, I don't need to change that explicitly. All right, so we got usage is fine. The bind flags. What are the bind flags? Bind. I think I want to bind to. Yeah, I just want it to be a shader resource. All right, here we go. So text descriptor dot bind flags is a shader resource. Still not sure about this usage. Oh yeah, so the deep usage, yes, this is an enum, so this would be 0. I want default anyway, so I just leave it at 0. Now the CPU access flag. I don't think I need to set that explicitly. Just gonna use flags. Any other shared texture cube? No, all right, I think that's all I really need to set. I'm probably wrong, as I am more often than not. But it's okay, because someday we'll get it. All right, where was my... Okay, so I make a, so texture 2D resource contains a 2D grid of texture, I know that. Texture, okay, so interface, texture resource contains a single blah, blah, blah. Okay, so I know at some point I need to tell the pixel shader to use this shader, I mean this texture. Um, but how do I do that? Textures, floating point, tile, graphics pipeline. So this is like okay, here we go. Probably want the programming guide. Resources, textures. Hey, introduction. Okay. Texture block compression. Oh, how to create a texture. There we go. All right, so here we go. MIP levels, format, sample descriptor, counts. Sure. Oops. Usage dynamic. Sure. Oops. Sorry about that. My webcam kind of crapped out. Let's You're good. All right. Whew. All right, so the usage is dynamic, bind flag, CPU access. Sure, I guess we need to specify that. And this flag 0. All right, so let me just check, see what's going on with this guy, and before I go ahead and copy and paste. So yeah, I got the texture descriptor, the initial data, sub resource data. So I need to make one of these too, I'm sure. Yeah. Yeah, okay, so I gotta make one of these. All right, so that's equal to the memory. Do I need to do anything with these? Okay. The distance in bytes from the beginning of the line to the next. No, it's just gonna be 0, and then the pitch. The distance in bytes in the beginning of 1 to 4. Oh wait, no, I do need to. I think. Okay, so the distance in bytes from the beginning of one line of a texture to the next line. Specify the distance from the first pixel of one. So is that how wide one row of pixels is? The distance in bytes from the beginning of one depth level to the next. So that's only for 3D textures. So yeah, I believe this is like how wide one row is. So one row is size of char times 2. Just compile that for no reason. All right, so I got the sub-resource data. Which they're passing as null, so whatever. So I got the texture, descriptor. And then I actually got to make the texture. But I already did. All right, so that might be all I need. I doubt it, but we'll see. So let's use the device to make a texture. I need to pass in my texture descriptor, which is TextDesk. I need to pass in my sub resource data, which I lost it. Where'd it go? Did I delete it? No, it's text data, duh. I need the address of that, actually, and I need the address of that. And the last thing I need is the actual texture, which again, I need the address of that. And that returns an H result. So I can then check if H result does not equal SOK. Then we'll just make a message box pop up with some angry text, error creating texture. And undeclared identifier D3D11, capital D device. Cannot convert argument 3 from ID texture to ID texture pointer. Oh, because I need the address of that, not a reference to it. And error creating texture. Why are you creating? Yeah, I'm definitely missing something. All right, okay, so how to create a texture. Simplest way to create a texture, describe its properties and call it texture creation API. This topic shows how to create a texture. To create a texture, fill in the MIP levels. Do I need to specify the MIP levels? Oh, hey, that actually worked. That seems to be all I needed to do. All right. Yeah. So we got the texture created. Now, if I remember, I believe the function is psSetTexture. Oh. Oh no, I need a sub-resource view. Sub-resources. Wait, actually, let's go back to the texture. Oh, here we go. Create shader sub-resource view. So need a resource. Yeah, okay. Create texture. I was just looking at this. Already have that. Already have that. Sounds fine. Yeah, there was like a pixel shader function set. Is there like set shader resource? There it is. Okay. And then I need to actually create one of these. All right, so 83 share resource views. Let me go ahead and jump on making that. Okay. Okay, so I can't actually. Yeah. Oops. All right, let's call this resource view. All right, so then I need the actual resource. But the resource is the texture. That's right. And then the descriptor. There we go. Okay, so I think this is all I need. Okay, so we need the HR is equal to the device D3D11 device. Create shader. All right, so then I need to pass in the resource, which is just my texture, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, jeez. Then I need the shader resource view descriptor, which I haven't made yet. Okay, so I need this first. I'll call this res view desk. I don't even know if I need any of that. I'm going to do all these here. All right. That's just okay. Yeah, the because that's basically what I'm trying to do is get to this function here, to where I can set the shader resource as my texture. But to do that, I need to create one of these shader resource views, and they don't make it easy as to tell how. Alright, so I guess I'll just do this thing here. I don't know, this is not really suitable for me. Okay, so we'll just use the little constructor thing here. So then I'll pass in texture. Then the view dimension. I don't know what this is. All right, that'll work. Okay, so the view dimension, then the format. Oh my goodness. Yeah, so again, I believe it's just the same. Oops. Okay, so format, and then the most detailed MIP levels. Oh, we should be more clear as to what's going on here. Okay, here we go. That's what I was looking for. Okay, so the maximum number. Okay, so most detailed MIP is 0 from MIP levels 1. Okay, so I'm just going to put that as 0. MIP levels, maximum number of MIP levels for this view. Let's try 1. I don't know what that means. Okay, first array slice. I feel like this is too much stuff. I don't need any of this. Let's just 0, 0. I don't know. Does that compile? Nope. 190 missing. Oh yeah, duh. Well, I wasn't getting an error here, so that must mean that that is fine. Probably need the address of that. Create resource shader view. Descriptor, and then the shader resource view. All right. Does that work? Oh, it compiles at least. Doesn't give me any errors. Let's check to see if that actually does give an error. Resource view. Oh, it doesn't. Okay, so I might just need to now do D311 context PS set shader resource view. Oh, set shader resources. That's what I meant. Start slot, number of views. So that's going to be 0, 1, and then it is my resource view. Cannot convert argument free 3 from a pointer. Oh, so I probably need the address of it. Yeah. All right, and still no errors. Cool, cool, cool. All right, so I think if everything is done right, the shader is getting loaded. I just now need to tell I'm sorry, the texture is now being loaded. I just need to tell my shader to actually render that texture. And where I would find that in the documentation, your guess is just as good as mine. HLSL textures. Okay, so texture object, texture type, texture object. Oh yeah, so I forgot. I also need to modify my vertices here so that they have texture coordinates. So I might as well do that now. So yeah, I need 0, wait, yeah. I think it's opposite, so it's 1.0 here. And then this would be 0 0.5, 0 0.0, and then this would be again, no, not again, just 1.0, and then this would be again 1.0. All right. So I have texture coordinates in my vertex data, but I also need to add another one of these here. So we'll just call this, actually I'm gonna call it UV chord. And then it's also a, oh, I forgot, which one of these is the offset? So semantic name, semantic index, so that's gotta go 0 and then 1. Okay, so then the format is the same. Input slot. An integer value that identifies the input assembler. Values are 0 and 15. Right, guys, so I'm assuming it's going to say 0. Aligned byte offset, that's what I was looking for. Wait. Set offset in bytes from start of the vertex. Yeah. So, what was that? That's 0. Okay, so then this one is going to be size of float times 2. Oops. All right, and then I want to say that that's going to be 2. What is this all about here? Oh. Okay, so that's wrong because my shader is not taking in account the texture coordinates. Chord. Let's see the chord. now I'm not getting a triangle at all. Okay, so oh yeah, and then that's also because my stride here is going to now have to change wherever that happened to go. Why did I lose it? There it is. Okay, so that's no longer float times 2, but it's float times 4. Oh no, still not working. What did I do? Guess that's supposed to be 0. Yeah, okay. So that had to stay 0. But yeah, so now I'm rendering my triangle the same, but I have texture coordinate information in there. So, okay, so now my vortex output should also output the texture coordinates. I'll just call it stick with UV coordinates. And yeah, so I'm just going to basically say that the outputs texture coordinates are the same as the inputs texture coordinates. All right, so now the pixel input can also get those texture coordinates too. Uh-oh. Missing semantics. There we go. Okay. All right, so we are so close, but who knows how far away. Yeah, so I believe everything's getting loaded again. I just need to look at the HLSL example for how to tell my pixel shader to render a texture. Oh, here we go. Does that work? Yeah, of course not. No, okay. Why did that not work? Unexpected token texture. if I did that. Is it gotta be a pointer? No. Okay. Okay, so yeah, I think I have to specify what register. T0? Nope. That's not that much hope. Do I have to make this up here? This doesn't seem right. I don't know why it's giving me error here. Why can't you not? know what's going on here. Unexpected token texture. Is it because I can't call it texture? Is it like used? Or if I just call it text? Oh yeah, oh my god. Okay, so I couldn't call it texture because it's a keyword in HLSL apparently. So I'll call this text. I don't know. Okay, so then can I do this now? Can I say float for color equals text dot sample? Is that right? Sample. Okay, here we go. I think this is what I was just looking at. Okay, yeah, so that's there we go. Okay, so yeah, we got the sampler. Need an actual sampler. Yeah, so we want a sample with a capital S, and then I believe we want to pass in the sampler, so I'll put text sampler, and I want to pass in the UV coordinates. So that would be input dot UV coordinates. All right, so let's just make sure that runs before I try to actually render that as a part of my triangle. And then so now hopefully, oh my god, it's not right, but it's got something. Yeah, so it should be green blue blue green, but instead I got, looks like green blue green yellow. But okay, so yeah, that's green, should be blue, then blue again, and then green. So I'm sure I got all this all jacked up somehow, some way. Nip levels, array size. And then, yeah, actually want nearest. Really? Oh yeah, it's not nearest, it's confusing it with OpenGL. I think it's point. There we go. Still, what the hey? Yeah, I'm not really sure. Normally I would set up like a texture sampler here in my code, but I really just want to get this done at this point. Okay. Well, no, it's not perfect. It's getting late. I'm gonna just wrap it up for the night. So I got a texture triangle. Tomorrow I'm gonna fix the texture. I'm gonna actually make a texture sampler here in my CPU code, and then get the colors to actually render correctly. So it's green, blue, green, or blue, green in a texture pattern. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with the progress I made. I mean, it's a step in the right direction at least. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and commit this to GitHub here. Git add everything, git commit texture triangle. I'm gonna put still wonky, not winky, but wonky. Jeez, okay. And git push that up. There we go. All right, thank you for joining me. Hopefully tomorrow we'll have some more progress done. Once I get done with this fighting with DirectX and Microsoft, where I can actually start working on the game, that would be a lot more fun, and it'll be a lot more entertaining to watch, I'm sure. So thank you. I'll see you next time.